Hello and welcome to Entirely English. Today's video is a sort of sequel to the previous one about misconceptions and stereotypes people have about the British. Today, we are going to be looking at some of the things my students have asked me, which they have heard or, in a couple of cases, have been told by their teachers. If you have any beliefs similar to these, do pop them in the comments. Anything you've been told by people who've instructed you on the British, or things you've seen in maybe documentaries in your country. Do jot them down and I'll attempt to answer them. So the first one we are going to look at today is one a student of mine from Russia asked me. This was several years ago before Russia invaded Ukraine, and I was teaching Russians a lot. He asked me, is it true that the British wear pajamas because we don't have central heating? Apparently, his English teacher in school had told him this. Well, the simple answer is no, it's not true. We do have central heating. We've had central heating for decades. Pajamas were something we imported from India during the days of the Raj. Previous to that, people would wear nightshirts. As you can see here in this clip from A Christmas Carol with the wonderful Alastair Sims playing Ebenezer Scrooge.
Look, Mr. Dilver, there's the corner where the Spirit of Christmas presents sat. And there's the door where Jacob Marley's ghost came through. And there's the window where I saw the wandering spirit. It's right, it's true, it all happened. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been amongst the spirits. I don't know anything. I never did know anything. But now I know that I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I never did know anything. But now I know that I don't know. All on the Christmas morning. I must stand on my head. I must stand on my head.
All right, so that was back in like the early Victorian days, when the only heating in the house came from a fire in the living room. Not, as this student seemed to picture, British people sitting around a fire in the middle of their carpet, shivering in the cold winter. We have radiators, warm air circulation heating, all that sort of thing in Britain. And I found it ironic that he was asking this when we have central heating as a central place in the house with the boiler, and it circulates the heat around the house. Whereas in Russia, in the major cities, if I'm wrong about this, do again pop it in the comments. In Russia, I believe they have a government sort of central heating system, a factory that produces hot water and pumps it around all the residences in the area. And apparently, because it's government controlled, there has to be, I think, 3 days of successive cold before they turn it on. So individual central heating is better than that. You turn it on when you're cold and turn it off when you're not. Again, in that country, the heating goes on until the government decides to turn it off. In fact, when I was living in Ukraine, my first year there, in the wintertime, the radiators came on because they have the same system. It's a Soviet system. And my flat was boiling hot. And I asked one of my students online, I said, my flat is hot and there's no thermostat, no device to lower the temperature on the radiator. And that student was in Moscow at the time. And he said, you have to do what we do in Moscow. Open the windows and heat the street. So, yeah, individual central heating is much better because you have absolute control over it. As to why people wear pajamas in Britain, it's not really about the cold. It's more about decency. Imagine you're in a house or a flat and there's a fire. You have to leave quickly. You don't spend time pulling on your trousers and shirt and jacket, put them on your shoes. You jump out of bed and you run. And you're in your pajamas, so you're not going to shock anybody or embarrass yourself. Similarly, if there's an early morning delivery from the postman and there's a knock at the door, you don't have to spend time pulling on your trousers or looking for your dressing gown and get to the door and find they've gone. You are decently attired. Okay? So pajamas were about decency rather than about warmth. The next one I'm going to mention, but I'm not going to discuss, is tea. Very often I'm asked if we all love tea in Britain, and does everything stop at 4 o'clock for a cup of tea? I did cover this in the previous video, so do go back, click on that link and go back and watch that video. As to the part about everything in Britain stopping for tea at 4 o'clock, well, that wouldn't have helped us in the world wars, would it? Hitler would just have to go, okay, it's 4 o'clock, we can attack. All right, so tea, follow the link. The next one I find strange. It was mentioned recently by a student in Slovakia, and I have heard it mentioned before, and it's a very strange one. The question is it true that you don't smile at people on the street, that you just look at the ground and keep your eyes away from other people? Simple answer, no, totally not true. Maybe on things like the underground, which you might call the metro, people avoid eye contact because it's too crowded, and we're British, so we have that personal space thing. We don't want to invade somebody else's space. On the street, often people are involved in their own thoughts. But if you look at somebody and smile, maybe give them a nod, hello, they will respond in kind. A smile is a good thing, and it's always appreciated. A smile makes people feel good. They won't think you're weird. As this woman from a video I don't know, but I saw a video with Tyler Rumpel, who we've mentioned before, reviewing it. So I'll just play the clip here. This is about Europe rather than just Britain.
United States. And they gave us like this whole assimilation seminar before we flew over there. And they were like, don't smile at people in the street because they'll think you're crazy.
Oh my God.
So totally wrong. Smiling at people on the street is entirely fine. Saying hello to them, talking to people on the street that you don't know is okay. People are very open, very welcoming, especially if you approach them with a smile. If you say, excuse me, do you know where the bank is? And they will happily help you. A smile breaks down barriers. And it's scientifically proven that if you smile, you yourself feel better. So if you're ever feeling depressed, force yourself to smile and you will feel better. It's true. And the next one is a common one, a bit like the tea. I'm often asked, what football team do you support? And is it true that everybody in Britain likes football? The answer to the second one is no. And the answer to the first one is none, because I hate football. I hate the teams. I hate the games. I hate the fans. I hate all of the circus that goes on around it. And I find the whole attitude around football very unbecoming to the British, kind of insulting. So I hate football. And I don't think more than maybe 60% of the population really like football. It's just, as with many things, the football fans are the loudest, so they're the most noticeable. Likewise, the final one we're going to look at today is, do you like the Beatles? Because people believe that everybody in Britain loves the Beatles. Again, the answer is no. I hate the Beatles. I hate the whiny sound of them. And I hate all the continually spread sort of rumor that they changed the face of music in Britain and the world, that they were the trailblazers. And it's all false. There were many bands in many countries doing much better than the Beatles. What the Beatles had was good management, good marketing. It was very cleverly manipulated. There's nothing good or clever about the Beatles themselves. Overrated. And I cringe when I hear wah, wah, wah. Those are the most common ones I can think of at the moment. Again, if you have any that you want to ask about, put it in the comments and I will address them. If you have been told something that you are sure is not true, like everybody loves football, again, put it in the comments and I will confirm or deny it for you. If you've enjoyed this, do please click the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm understand what sort of people should be watching these videos, and it also helps me feel better. If you want to stay up to date with the videos, click subscribe. And if you know anybody who would enjoy these videos or is studying the British, not just English, but the British, then do please share it with them. And share it with anybody you know who's looking for lessons as well, and give them my details from below. All right? So thank you for staying with me through this, and I'll see you next time in about a week. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.